Montana is a very solid state with very solid patriots. Big damn state, very small population. So those people know how to live on their own. They're self-sufficient. Tim Sheehy represents that kind of person. He's the Republican running for the Senate Montana against far-left liberal Tester, who's... It's Tesla, isn't it? What the hell is his name, Tim? I can't even remember. Tester.
It's Tester with a T, that's right.
Tester. So, Tim, first of all, your numbers are looking decent, aren't they?
Yeah, they've looked good for a few months now, but as you well know, we can't trust the polls, we can't trust the numbers, so we got to keep the pressure on, but they do look good.
So tell us what it looks like there. In other words, in terms of the money being spent, are the Democrats flowing? Every state they're spending anywhere from $50 to $110 million. I don't know where they get all this money, but is that what they're doing to you?
Absolutely, yeah. Right now we are the most expensive Senate race in American history. I think actually the most expensive political race per vote in American history. As of last week, we crossed that line. So it'll end up being about a $300 million race here with about 575,000 votes coming in. So it's going to be a very expensive race. And obviously they're setting the spending pace, as you know.
Well, tell me this. I would think a state like Montana, 500,000 people, give or take, a lot of people know each other, right? And so a lot of people must know by now that Tester campaigns one way and votes another in Washington, D.C. Do you think a lot of people figured that out?
Yeah, they have. It's been hard to pin him with that for 18 years because obviously you have a very friendly media complex, both nationally as well as in the state. And then you've got, of course, just a massive spending imbalance. They'll put up $100 million, $200 million every cycle to make sure that, there's enough money to convince Montanans that Tester's a Republican because, as you know, he votes like Elizabeth Warren in D.C., then comes back here, throws on an orange vest, and acts like a Bible-thumping, gun-toting, border security Republican. And he's pulled it off a couple of times. But this time, it's pretty tough. The last 3.5 years of which he's voted every single time with the Biden-Harris agenda. Every single time it's mattered, from the Inflation Reduction Act to funding secret migrant flights to voting to let boys play girls' sports. Party line every single time he's been there. He hasn't defected once, and that's why Kamala Harris has been able to break all the more ties than any other vice president in the history of this country, because Jon Tester never once chose to stand up and cross the aisle and say, this is not what Montana wants. This is bad for our country, bad for our state. I'm going to stand up. He never did, not once.
And Montana's a rural state, for crying out loud. There's nothing in common in many ways in terms of its economy with Massachusetts, with New York, with Rhode Island. And yet he votes with the senators who are far left from these dark blue states, correct?
He absolutely does, in lockstep. Number one recipient of lobbyist cash in the whole nation, top recipient of out-of-state dark money. Literally, they just flow monies into his coffers. But you have to hand it to the guy. He's a very talented retail politician. He's got a very, very sophisticated and capable grassroots operation. And, of course, he's got all the money he needs to craft a message. And with a million people in this state, you got the fourth largest state in the country with 1 million people. It's not that hard to saturate markets and literally dominate the messaging around a candidate, and that's what they do every single time. But luckily, we started early this campaign, and most importantly, Mark, we got on the ground. All 56 counties, every VFW hall, every rodeo we could get to, we just shoe-leathered our way there and shook so many damn hands and just looked people in the eye, talked to them directly, and listened to them, most importantly, because we're a constitutional republic. We're supposed to listen to our people and then take their will back to D.C., not the other way around. And by doing that, we've earned the respect of the people of Montana, even though we've been outspent massively since day one. And as a result, as you said, the numbers look good. We're going to keep doing that all the way to the finish line.
We're talking to Tim Sheehy, Tim for MT, that's short for Montana, timformt.com. So, shaking hands and so forth, you have a strong ground game? You're going to have the precincts manned on Election Day?
100%. I think Montana, listen, as you know, Mark, I'm a first-time candidate. I've never run for student council or Congress or anything else, so my experience in politics is this campaign. So a heck of a first shot into politics. But I'll tell you, from what I've seen on the ground, what I've heard from our experts, the state of Montana, our Secretary of State, our governor, they've invested in unprecedented election security measures this go-around, from poll watchers to ballot security to ballot carrying, ballot harvesting. Those are legal here. You can vote early. Early voting started yesterday here in Montana. Mail-in voting is legal. Actually, early voting started this morning, but, the calendar roll over to today, started to today. So early voting's legal, mail-in voting's legal, absentee. So it's critical that we get out and vote every legal means possible because we know they're going to do it, and we have to do the same. I'd love to see in-person, same-day voter ID everywhere, but that's not the law right now in this country or in the state, so we've got to make sure we get out the vote. We got to swamp the vote by so much it doesn't matter what happens, we win.
Mm-hmm. So we want people to vote early, right? So we can spend time in getting people out who may not normally vote or focus resources on getting out other people to vote. So you want as many people to vote early as possible, no?
100%. And we learned this lesson the hard way, as you well know, back in, I saw you in RJC a few weeks ago in Nevada. 2022, the Senate election there, we had the largest snowstorm in like 30 years hit election night in Nevada. And most of the Republicans were told, hey, only vote same day. Don't trust the mail-ins. Don't trust early voting. And as a result, in some cases, I think up in the Sierra Nevadas, they were getting 8-10 feet of snow, huge snowstorms. So voter turnout dropped precipitously, especially in rural areas, which, as you know, hurts us. So we're telling folks, listen, we live in a rural northern state. Snowstorm can hit between now and Election Day. Vote early. As soon as you get that ballot, fill it out, mail it in, or go to a polling station. Vote early. That's the best way to make sure your vote's going to be counted.
And if people want to know what to do, how to help, where do they go?
Yeah, the Secretary of State's website, Chrissy Jacobson is our Secretary of State. She's sent out some great voter information packets around the state. They can go to her website. Each county, of course, has also election websites because, as we know, counties have precincts run them. But the Secretary of State website in Montana will be a great resource. And, of course, there are plenty of others. You can go to timformt.com as well. But the best place to go is our Secretary of State website.
If people want to donate, where do they go?
timformt.com, timformt.com.
And you're a great patriot. You're a combat veteran. Your wife is. You started a business. And now you want to help your country. And we wish you all the best, Tim Sheehy. God bless you, my friend.
All right. Thank you, sir.